Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm hand for Joni Renee.
Well, I was 19, which I wish I could say was a long time ago, but it was pretty recently. I'm probably the youngest person here, but here we go. I wanted to sign up for salsa lessons because I heard that salsa is a dance that's very sexy and empowering. And when I was 19, the only thing I wanted was to be more sexy and or more empowered. So luckily at that time I was living in the barrio and it was very easy. I just went down to the corner studio and it was right next door to a donut shop and a carniceria. And I signed up for the cheapest class they had, which was a $15 beginner's class on a Tuesday night. So Tuesday came, and I go to my first class. I meet the other students. They're all in their 40s and 50s, and they're not really beginners. They kind of been around, and they enjoy salsa, so I think they go every night. And then I meet the instructor, Angel. He's handsome. He's probably 30, clean shaven. He has a little ponytail, not the long one, just like at the nape. And he's got his tight black pants and a tight black button down and really shiny, fancy salsa dancing shoes. That's like the main thing, is like the shoes. You got to invest. And he's handsome. I mean, his name is Angel. It's like, come on. But then he says that we have to all call him Angel. And then he says, you just got to let it out, Joni. Everyone is Mexican on the inside. And you have to unleash the inner Latina. Okay. So I didn't bring a partner to salsa class because I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know it was BYO partner. I thought that it was just like an orgy, or you just like show up and you're like, I'm here to have a good time. Who is else here? Like, I don't know. I didn't think that was a thing. So everyone else was like fully partnered and had their like dancing practice partner. So I had to have Angel because, that was the only person who's free. So we start dancing, and the cool thing about salsa is you don't have to be that good to look pretty good. You have your frame, which is your like form, your dancing form, and it's all in the structure and the arms, and you got to keep the nice positions. And the guy pushes on your hand or pulls, and it's a really cool, like flowy back and forth communication thing, very like silent. He is controlling you with the motion of his hand. So I'm not going to say that salsa dancing is like an innate gift in everyone, but if you have like a nice hard lead, you can look pretty good. So next thing I know, we are like going around this old like shitty falling down like commercial leased out space, and like the music is pumping and we're flying and he's leading like hard, and I'm looking over in this cracked mirror that's duct taped on the wall, and I'm like, I look pretty good. I'm like doing it. And with the hand, you just the guy's pushing you with his hand and your feet just kind of magically follow. I don't know if I had it in me the whole time or whatever, but it went really well, and I'm like flying around. So, and I like that. And he's really like decisive, and he's kind of like bossing me around with his hands, like when I do it good, he's like, good. And when I mess up, he's like, no. So we're dancing, and that goes on. And as it kind of, it was started in like the early evening, and now it's getting more into like the night class. So more people show up. I think it's either free or like $5, and everyone's friends and everyone knows each other. And then there's like the serious like pros, and they're good. I mean, they're like so crazy, like flying all around. And there's like a disco ball that's kind of like half falling down, and he has like a few twinkly lights. Mostly there's no lights, but there's just like a few, and the music is just like going and going. And the thing about salsa too is it is a really sexual dance. So I don't know if Angel is groping me or if that's just part of the dance. Like, and I feel like a lot of things kind of start out that way. Like, I don't know if this has ever I don't know if this happened to you guys, but sometimes you go to the optometrist and then she's just like, take your pants down, and you're like, this is part of the checkup, I think. Okay, so we're dancing, and it's like good. And I feel as if a primal force has been called from within me. This like grinding, super sexy dance is just coming out of me because of this decisive, nice lead that he's got going on. And the groping, and that's all going on. And I start to feel these like waves of like hot heat, manly heat. I feel like he's dumping testosterone on my head. Like, I don't know. It kind of relating to the earlier thing, the 3 months of pent up. It was like that. I feel like really turned on by this experience. And so as we're going, I'm like, the lights are all over me and everything's really great. And I'm like sweating, like the small of my back is really sweaty and like my thighs are sweating. So I'm sold. I love salsa dancing, basically. So class is over and I go up to him and I'm like, I want to do this. I want private lessons. And he says, well, they're $60 an hour. And I'm like, great, we're going to start tomorrow. So what I don't tell him is I'm an architecture student. I not only don't have a job or money, I don't even have the future possibility of making money because of the recession. I don't have $60 for anything, but I gotta like think of a plan. So I'm like, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, definitely. So the next day I bring over for the first lesson at my place, which by the way, my place is like the cheapest place I could find. It is a tiny studio. There's no hardwood floors. There's no room to dance around. There's definitely no like full length mirror or whatever. And he gets in and I'm a little nervous. And I say, thank you so much for coming. And I take him by the hand and I walk him right into the kitchen and I get right down on that linoleum. And I give him the most earnest blowjob. Really earnest. Just like the most earnest blowjob in the world, if you can picture that. Yeah, totally. So, and I think there's like a stereotype of Latin dance in general that the teachers are super sleazy and they sleep with all their students. And like, I had this really strong feeling that he wasn't that way. And a couple things clued me in. First of all, he looked shocked. He was flabbergasted. He looked as though he didn't want to say anything because he thought it might mess it up. And I don't know, something else about it. It was just like all like really neatly trimmed. And it was like his dick was just calling out like, touch me. I don't know. So then because I think he was really into it and was just like, if I say anything, it will make it not come true. This is totally a dream. It was really quiet. It was like a 10-minute, super silent kitchen blowjob. And I remember like the cars driving by really loudly and the silence inside and just like the methodical like... And then finally I can tell that he's getting kind of close, so I just look up at him and I'm like, do you want to come on my face or do you want me to swallow? And he doesn't have a chance to answer because the question itself makes him come. So basically that's how I found out that salsa is really sexy and empowering. So, there's a little more. basically from that point, we formed this sort of unspoken agreement that we were just going to do a service trade. That's what professionals do. Let's say you have a chiropractor and he fixes the contractor's back and then he gets his house renoed. That's super fair. That happens all the time. So I'm 19 and I'm just looking at this situation super straight on. And I'm like, I want to be a great salsa dancer. This is a highly enjoyable activity that I can use for the rest of my life. It's good to have on your resume. I don't know why, just in case. And I'm going to use the only skill set that I have really available to me at this time, which is a sweet demeanor and a lack of a gag reflex. So this was the first time that I had basically monetized my sexuality, and it felt really good. Really good. If there's something you want and you can't afford it, you know the feeling where you're always just like, can't afford that. And I was getting it. That's so cool. And so we had this arrangement. And so he would come over once a week, 1 hour of great lesson, 1 hour of great sex. And I was a really eager student. I'm highly motivated, and it was going really well. I was like picking up on things really quickly, and I felt like I was learning a lot, and everything was great. But over time, I kind of started to feel proportionally the ratios were kind of like fluctuating. For example, one time it was like a 30-minute lesson and then like 3 hours of sex. And then it was like a 15-minute lesson and he stayed all night and we had sex twice and once in the morning. Okay, so it all boils down to one day he comes over and I turn on the dance music and he starts undressing me. And I'm like, wait, we haven't had a lesson in weeks. And he kind of laughs and he's like, oh yeah, all right, yeah. No, turn over, I'll teach you a lesson. And I'm like, no, seriously. I may not be the most business-minded whore in the room, but I think I'm worth a little more than free. Which is basically what you're getting is free. So that was kind of hard. I had built it up like this really adult, detached transaction that was going to be really empowering. But, I mean, it was kind of the opposite. So I had to break it off and tell him he couldn't come over anymore. And he was really embarrassed. And I basically said, you're not holding up your end of the deal. And it's not like we have some amazing emotional connection. So that was hard. And right before my 20th birthday, I kind of got my shit together and got real with myself and told myself it wasn't super amazing and empowering. But the thing I learned is the only thing I'm really willing to trade sex for is more sex. Okay, thanks.